Good afternoon and welcome to our regular council meeting for May 20th, 2025 at 4:30 in the council chambers. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional territories and the oral practices of the Blackfoot Nation, which include the Siksika, the Kainai, and the Piikani. We also acknowledge the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney, Nakota First Nations, the Métis Nation District 4, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta. We're making this acknowledgement to demonstrate our continuing efforts to work together as we strive for reconciliation through increased and collective learning. And we'll start off the afternoon with an introduction. Aquatic Foreman Tabitha Williams, if you want to come forward here. We need you in front of a mic there, so all the people out in social media land can hear you.
Perfect. So we have one addition to our aquatics team, a pool shift supervisor level 1. Her name is Sky Sams. She's originally from Brooks, moved away, she said 2012, and is back now. We hope to have her long term. She has the intention of being a lifelong recce, which we're super excited to be part of her journey. So Sky Sams is here to meet you guys.
Yeah. Welcome back to Brooks. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Tabitha, yeah. Okay, moved by Councillor, we call the meeting to order, moved by Councillor Nesbitt, that the minutes from the regular council meeting held May 5th, 2025 be approved. All those in favor?
Adopt the agenda.
What's that?
Adopt the agenda.
Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't have it. Oh, yeah, okay. I guess I'm mover for the motion to adopt the agenda. I need a mover on that one there. Councillor Idris on that one there. All those in favor? Carried. Okay. Okay, need a motion to approve that the April 2025 RCMP report be accepted as information. Need a mover for this motion here, Councillor Wardrop. Okay, come forward, you're up.
Thanks for having me, everybody. Pleasure to be here again. So yes, I'm going to speak to a report that I submitted, and that is reflective of our April 2025 statistics. For the month of April, the detachment responded to 360 municipal calls for service. We had a total of 35 prisoners lodged at the detachment. 130 municipal criminal record checks were completed, and there was 48 violation tickets written by the Brooks RCMP within the city. The next section of my report just highlights some significant events. I'd maybe say not all may be considered significant in the eyes of everybody. I do consider them all significant, but it also gives us kind of a little bit of a snapshot about what's going on in the community. I'll start off with a break and enter that occurred on April 19th. Brooks RCMP responded to a 911 call reporting a break and enter at the Montana's restaurant. And I know there was a lot of people aware of this. Basically, it looks like a vehicle damaged the front of the restaurant and a ATM machine was taken from that premises. There was significant damage done to that building. There's been no arrests to date, but what I can tell you is that investigation is still very much alive, and we continue to work on that. On April 19th, there was a theft of a motor vehicle file that we investigated. We received a complaint of a vehicle that was previously stolen out of Calgary. It was a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and we learned that it was located near Canada West storage facility in town here. Officers attended that location, and they located the vehicle and a suspect that was standing beside it. Unfortunately, that suspect fled on foot when he seen the officers and entered the Jeep and drove quite erratically out of that facility, including through a fence and a ditch. Eventually, that Jeep entered a nearby field and it was abandoned. As we deployed our resources to contain and deal with that subject, including our police dog services, unfortunately, we learned that a resident within that area was subject to having their vehicle stolen. and we now know that that vehicle was stolen from the same suspect. That suspect left the area and traveled through some different RCMP jurisdictions, and there was multiple detachments engaged on that. And happy to report that eventually that suspect and the vehicle were located in Three Hills. And as a result of that, a 43-year-old male of Calgary was charged with numerous offenses, including flight from police, break and enter, possessed break-in tools, possession of stolen property, and theft of a motor vehicle. He was taken before a justice of the peace and remanded into custody. Careless driving on April 21. Officers responded to a report of an aggressive driver. Witnesses observed a white Dodge pickup truck driving recklessly throughout the city. Witnesses then reported observing the vehicle drive through a green space in the Greenbrook Mobile Village area. Officers attended and verified reckless driving based on tire tracks and some other evidence. And that vehicle was eventually located, and the driver, a 36-year-old male, was issued fines under the Traffic Safety Act for careless driving. Also a driving incident on April 26th, impaired driving. Officers received a complaint of a possible impaired driver. Officers located that vehicle at the Walmart parking lot and initiated a traffic stop. In that vehicle, there was open liquor located, cannabis, illegal cigarettes. The driver was a 26-year-old male, was issued a 24-hour suspension for consumption and $1,300 in fines related to the various provincial offenses. And as usual, all that contraband was seized. On April 28th, we responded to a theft of a motor vehicle. A white Chev Traverse parked in Greenbrook Drive area was stolen overnight. Keys were previously stolen from a break and enter. The vehicle was located the next day, occupied by the occupants. However, they fled from us. We were able to identify one of them, and a 20-year-old female was later arrested and charged for possession of a stolen vehicle. The last one I'm going to touch on resulted in a bit of an increased police presence. On April 29th, we responded to a disturbance call at a residence in the Meadowbrook Green area. A 54-year-old male was found with facial injuries and transported to Brooks Hospital by ambulance. Investigation found that he was subject to an assault from a 32-year-old male known to that victim. This resulted eventually in a large police presence on May 1st on Ash Street, where the suspect was found to be somewhat barricaded in a garage and non-cooperative. We obtained a warrant to enter that building, and the suspect was taken into custody without further incident and faces a very serious charge of assault causing bodily harm. That suspect was subject to a bail hearing and was released on bail. So I just wanted to highlight those incidents. By no means am I saying they're the most serious, although I deem all of those serious, but it shows a little bit of a range range and variety of calls that we're dealing with. And the one message I have there, whether it's assault causing bodily harm or some aggressive driving in the city, we deal with all of that. You know, we take all of that seriously, and we deal with it appropriately and as quick as we can. So I just kind of wanted to paint that picture, as well as just that snapshot of what's happening in the city. Some other key messaging that I have, vehicle thefts are on the rise in Brooks and particularly the surrounding area. I think for the month of April, we had 3 reports of stolen vehicles. I spoke about 2 of them just now. The one message I have for everybody in this room and any viewers is please make sure your vehicles are parked and secured properly. And what I mean by that is, you know, windows up, keys removed. Make sure you remove valuables from the vehicle, because that's often what attracts people to parked vehicles. So again, it's not just Brooks, it's in the outlying areas, including to the west of here, but I think it deserves kind of a word of caution to everybody. Point two, under my other messaging, wildland and prairie fires are easily started. We're seeing this in some portions of the province, especially to the north. I've spoken to the fire chief recently, and the fire risk might not be as high down here as it is in some parts of the province. But it's a good time to remind everyone, exercise caution. Fires can be started in various ways, including operating machinery and equipment that causes sparks, and most certainly by throwing cigarette butts out windows. So just a reminder to everyone, we are in that fire season, so we ask that everyone be aware of that. Now, with respect to fires, a message came out from our headquarters in K Division, and it is with respect to the RCMP preparing for the fire season and being able to engage where needed in the fire season. We have a unit called DOC, which is a District Emergency Operations Center. They've been planning for some time now on how RCMP will respond to fires if needed, and obviously we've had some of those deployments. At times, detachments, including Brooks, may be called upon to assist at some of those fires and deploy members. The message our headquarters and I have for town council here is if we're ever in that position where we're asked to supply members, we make sure that it has the most minimal impact on our local policing efforts, and often we can do it in a manner where there is no impact. So I just wanted everyone to be aware that when things get really, really bad, sometimes we do get that call to help out other areas. And that gets reciprocated in, if we have similar problems here, whether it's floods, fires, or whatever, I take comfort in knowing that if I need officers from other detachments, we can get them, quite quickly. So, yeah, so just wanted to speak about that. That is all that my agenda really touches on. However, I did want to throw in just another point. If everyone can see, I'm wearing a brand new body-worn camera on my vest here, and until today, Brooks Detachment members never had body-worn cameras. So I'm happy to announce that today we had our first classroom session training our officers for these body-worn cameras. They were issued those cameras, and tomorrow we have one more session where the remaining officers will be trained. So if you see the officers out there and you see them wearing a camera, we're all trained and equipped with them. You'll see, I want to point out, this one has a green light. It's not recording you right now. The light will flash a bright red when it is recording. But the cameras are a good thing. They help us with complete transparency or near complete transparency, and they help the officers with, gathering evidence and so on. So I just wanted to point that out, even though I don't have it on my agenda. Other than that, I don't typically go through all the stats, as they typically speak for themselves. But if anyone has any questions regarding the stats or anything I touched on, I'd be more than happy to comment.
Okay, I'll open up the floor here. I just wanted to comment too, you talked about sending officers away to help fires in other parts of the province, and I think we've done that before too, and I think even our local fire department has been able to do that too, which is, that's the nice thing about being able to help one another there too. I was going to ask you, will you lose anybody for the G7? I know there's a big RCMP contingent there, military contingent there, and I know they're there for over a month there. Are you losing anybody for that?
So we are sending 3 officers. We have 3 officers that are attached to a provincial team that deploys to things like that. So those 3 officers are going. And I think they're just short of going there for just short of 3 weeks, if I recall. So that'll have no impact on the frontline policing. We'll make sure that that's covered off and so on. But yes, so to answer that, there is 3 officers going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Nice to help out. Okay, any other questions? Councillor Idris.
It was the first thing I noticed. But first, thank you for
The camera was?
The camera.
Oh, I'm glad I commented on it.
Thank you for the report. And I was thinking, is green recording or? So my question, and you mentioned that there was a training today. What's the rule, if you can share, around when it has to start recording, or when
Yeah.
does it
Okay.
have to stop?
So good question on that. So the first thing I want to point out is the training is actually quite extensive for the officers. They have an online training program to complete with the service provider, the company that's provided us the cameras. They then have a online RCMP course to complete, which puts an RCMP spin on it, including policy and RCMP requirements. And then we close off the training with an actual classroom training, such as we did today. A lot of that training is with respect to the Privacy Act, what's allowed, what's not allowed. Basically, as a rule of thumb, I should have my camera on if I'm engaging with somebody in the course of my duties, especially an offender or something that's unfolding at the moment. However, there's several instances where I wouldn't have that camera on. For example, if I asked to come talk to you at your house or in your house, maybe to take a statement or provide you an update, I might ask you if you're okay with me turning my camera on. But if you're not okay with that, we don't have to have it on. So it's just a courtesy thing, and I'm really not dealing with an unfolding event at that point. It's more of a follow-up thing. There's other instances where I wouldn't engage the camera. That would be if I enter a public bathroom, maybe looking for somebody, place of religion, things like that. Correctional centers have a very stringent policy, hospital settings, and so on. So there's definitely some do's and don'ts with the camera. When I do record footage with the camera, and should it be used for court disclosure, obviously it could, become and probably would become public information. We actually go through the footage before we submit it, and we're able to vet it and redact things. That includes maybe the faces of people that aren't involved or that we don't need on that footage, license plates, certain documents that shouldn't be seen in the courtroom setting, and so on. So pretty stringent process to make sure that we're not only compliant with the Privacy Act, but we're respecting people's privacy and so on. So
Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions? Councillor Jessica.
Thank you. Just looking at the numbers, so the theft of motor vehicles jumps out at you, but it's not. Looks like it's not so much that the number is so high this year, but it was so low last year. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
pretty well tracking on average. But the break and enters, we're seeing for the last 4 years a continual increase. And it had been mentioned in the past that there are groups that travel from place to place and kind of generate their own little crime waves and then move on. Think that's more of what we're seeing here?
with respect to the vehicle thefts or the property
The
crime
break
in
and
general?
enters.
Sorry?
For the break and enters.
Yeah, so I think for the property crime in general, including the break and enters, we're probably seeing a mix of, local and non-local people. I can tell you that I've looked quite closely at the vehicle thefts, and I do believe there is a local element to it, but more so an out-of-town element to a lot of that. And you're right, our statistics with the vehicle thefts aren't that high for April and for this year to date. But again, those vehicle thefts aren't just happening in Brooks, they're happening in the outlying areas, and especially to the west, such as Bassano has been hit. I don't want to say quite hard, but definitely there's been a higher than average amount of vehicle thefts there. And I'm always cautious, and that's why I threw out this word of caution today. If it's happening, on the outskirts of Brooks, we all need to be aware of that, right? Because those people could easily come into the city and do the same sort of thing.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for your first report to council. They're very good.
Well, thank you very much,
Yeah,
everyone. Really
yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
that.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah. Okay, to the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Need a mover for this motion here that the following items of correspondence be received as information, updates on council conferences and/or workshops, and notes from council committee, April 29th, 2025. Mover for that motion, Councillor Jessica. I'm going to start off here. The City of Brooks won the Diversity Award here. Maybe you can see that on camera there. I want to thank Robin Clausen and I were up in, she's our inclusion coordinator, up in Sylvan Lake to accept the award there. We're very proud of this award, but really, this award goes to council, who's committed to that, and to administration there. So I want to thank all of council and administration and the community for this award. This award means a lot to us, and it's a good-looking award here, too, so we'll go from there. Okay, I'll go down the line here. We'll go with Councillor Wardrop. You were at the Citizen of the Year banquet on Friday.
Yes, thank you. Last Friday, May 16th, the Grasslands Regional FCSS put on the annual Citizen of the Year banquet. Our Citizen of the Year winner was Carolyn Hendrickson. Our Junior Citizen of the Year winner was Presley Dick. And this year we chose to honor the runners-up. The runners-up for Citizen of the Year was Eric Derringer and Amanda Goodenough. And Junior Citizen runners-up were Ember Connors and Nora Johnson. And yeah, it was a beautiful celebration. Lots of family and friends came out to the Heritage Inn to celebrate those who continue to build our community with their volunteerism and their community spirit, and it was a great celebration.
Yeah, it was a nice evening, yeah, and another great meal at the Heritage there, too, there, yeah. Okay, Councillor Jessica, you want to talk about the edible garden?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The EcoBrooks Edible Garden is back for this year after a one-year hiatus due to water quality concerns. So 3 beds have been prepared at the south end of Stafford Lake, and the planting is planned for this Saturday, so there'll be hot dog barbecue at noon for participants, and then a couple hours getting our fingers dirty. So anyone is welcome. I'm hoping to have some experienced gardeners to come out and share their knowledge, and for anybody that isn't experienced and wants to get a little bit of a handle on how gardening is done, it's a great opportunity. So that's this coming Saturday morning, start from 12 till about 3. And also, just from Communities in Bloom, there's been some discussion for some time now about doing some beautification of the east entrance into town, and it looks like if things go according to plan, we'll actually have something coming to fruition on that direction.
Yeah, both nice projects there. Nice to have that the edible garden back this year after not having it last year there too. I'll go to Councillor Goodenough. We had a nice fundraiser in town, raised a lot of money.
Yeah, it's always good when we can partner with local businesses and community groups, and the Spec Association partnered with Jordan Brown of McDonald's and the staff there to raise funds for Spec and for the Ronald McDonald House, totaling $41,553 for one day, and that's an amazing total. I want a special thanks to the Brooks Fire Department, the peace officers, the Boom, and New Country. Grassland School was also there, and probably one of the more famous people were there, Shooter from the Brooks Bandits. And so, and obviously council and the different elected officials were there for the day. And it was just a great day with dance troops on the street, and we look forward to partnering again to do this again next year.
Yeah, that's an incredible fundraiser when you can raise that much money, you know, in one day, and most of that stays local too.
Absolutely, yeah.
It does.
How many burgers did you eat?
I actually didn't eat 2. I only had 2. Think about that. Thanks.
You gotta get a better record next year. Yeah.
If honestly, if they had a hamburger eating contest, and I'll put the challenge out now, I will out-eat anyone in a hamburger eating contest. So
Okay.
if Jordan Brown, you're listening,
Yeah,
I will
okay,
do
we're
it.
gonna have to do that next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. John and I are in there, yeah, Councillor Nesbitt and I are in there. Okay, Councillor Idris.
Thank you, Your Worship. I want to bring attention to actually a very meaningful fundraiser that's happening in our community. And I want to acknowledge the Rotary Club of Brooks. They have raised the flag fundraiser. So people who would like to raise the flag for 3 weekends during the year, those 3 weekends are the Memorial not Memorial.
Victoria Day, yeah, it used to be Memorial, yeah.
Victoria Day weekend, and then Canada Day weekend, and also in
Labor Day.
September, is it called the
Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend. So 3 weekends, someone will come to your front door, raise the flag for you, and keep it, and then come and pick the flag at the end of the weekend. And you just give some money to Rotary. And beside the fact that the Rotary does a lot of good in the community and internationally, and the money will go to a good cause, if you drive around, if you have driven around the last weekend and passed in front of Councillor Goodenough's house, for example, and Mayor Petrie's house, you will see a flag that is really something good to have in our community, in our neighborhood. There is about 6 or 7 different flags, especially in this day and age where, you know, pride and some other things are happening around being Canadian and celebrating being Canadian. I think it's a good thing to see. I love the idea. I think more people should do it, and maybe next year we will have more people do it and raise the flag and show the pride of being Canadian and living in this community, in this wonderful part of the world where I think it's, I always say, even if it's not the best country in the world, it's the best country for the world.
Yeah,
we are
that's
the
right.
best country for the world.
Yeah, good line there too. I think I'm not too sure how many flags they did. It's $75. It's a fundraiser for the Rotary Club. But I mean, driving around the community on the weekend, they certainly look nice. Whatever. Too. Just I'm going to get you to do one more plug-in too, because we got the Rotary Convention in Calgary in towards the end of June. About 25,000 people are supposed to be here, but we're going to try to reap some of the benefits of that in this part of the province here too.
Yes.
If you want to talk about that.
Yes. So the Rotary Convention, the Rotary International Convention this year is happening in Calgary. It moves from one place to the other every year. Last year it was in Singapore, and there was about 16,000 people at the conference. The goal for this year was about 25,000 people, and if they don't get it, I'm sure they would be very close to that. It's one of the biggest gathering for people who have these causes to be good for the world and to do good in the world. I want to actually plug, as you said, Your Worship, the idea that we wanted to have some of those people come to our community. And Director Tiffin, Iwasa, Director Iwasa have been working with Anderson Vacation. We were able to make 2 different tours. One tour is going to be Desert to Oasis. It focuses on the irrigation, on the history of water in our community, and all of the things that we were able to do with irrigation. And then the other tour will be from farm to table. Cowboy country. So the cowboy country the people who are coming on this trip will be able to experience some of that lifestyle, visit a ranch, and have a meal that is from this land. So I think we are hoping we will have a good number of people. There is a partnership with the Rotary Club of Brooks also here. The Rotary Club of Brooks is hosting the one meal for every one of these tours. And it will be around the 26th of June next month.
Yep. Okay. Anybody else with anything? Okay, we'll go to the motion. All those in favor? Okay, need a mover for this motion here, that Gwen Vickers be appointed as a member of the Regional Assessment Review Board for a first 3-year term commencing May 21st, 2025 and ending April 6, 2028. A mover for that motion, Councillor Jessica. He's quick on the draw today there. Okay, Director of Finance, Bill McKinnon.
Through your worship, as council is well aware, we have a regional assessment board comprising of the city and 3 neighboring communities. The purpose of that is to create efficiencies dealing with the potential assessment review board appeals. Currently, we have both a member and a municipal clerk that have been trained and have finished their required training. So we're seeking for council to appoint the member and also an additional clerk for the board under the act. So that concludes my report.
Okay, any other questions or any questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, need a mover for this motion here that Liza Appias, Bailey Boulay, and Shannon Biet be appointed as the Regional Assessment Review Board clerks for a one-year term per the Regional Assessment Board clerk agreement. Mover for that motion, Councillor Goodenough. Do you have anything to add there?
Just for council's information, we will be reviewing the agreement. Currently, we're required to annually, council's required annually to appoint board members. We'll be seeking to amend the agreement so the existing clerks can serve for a term, just like the members can, so we don't have to come back every year with appointments.
Okay, okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, need a mover for this motion that council approve the tax reductions related to the municipal portion of the overall tax bill for the following tax rolls. Roll 043, 0886-200 for $2,798.03. Roll 043, 585900 for $2,814.49. For roll 043, 0884 810 for $2,131.44. Roll 043 0884 820 for $2,131.44. Councilor Nesbitt made the motion on that, so, and
Again, through your
That's
worship,
McKinnon on that,
council
yeah.
approved the residential new build incentive policy on June 19th, 2023. The policy was attached to this report. Given the nature of this financial transaction and the requirements under the MGA, council needs to approve a bylaw to give effect to the policy. In essence, administration will be bringing forward a bylaw that will be reflective of what council's done in the policy, but it's required under the MGA to be done by by bylaw, not by policy. In order to deal with the current taxation billings, because the tax bills have been mailed out, these properties have been fully billed at the amount on the returned assessment roll. Obviously, council's been supportive of the reduction in taxes by adopting the policy, so this report is basically to give administration the authority to write down those tax rolls in accordance with the relief that would be granted under the policy. So administration will be coming back with a bylaw and seeking to have council amend, or not amend, the correct word, basically delete the policy. Sorry, the word escapes me. But that's it. In terms of the financial implications, we were unaware, I was unaware, that the policy was approved by council, so there was no allowances made in the operating budget. So this will show up as a minor variance in the variance report for the balance of the year. Obviously, once the bylaw's in place, it will be budgeted correctly in 226.
okay, any questions? Councilor Idris.
So is the bylaw going to be dealing, again, like this motion deals with only 2025? So is the bylaw going to be dealing with all 5 years, or only we will have to bring it back every year as a bylaw?
The bylaw will be dealing with the term of the property. So the current policy has, runs out at the end of 225. So applications would not be considered after 225, but the bylaw would deal with the relief granted up to the proposed end of the deadline, which is December 31st. Administration may be bringing back another report seeking the successes of the program and outlining potential options to renew or extend the program, but that would not be part of the bylaw that's being brought back at this point in time.
Councilor Idris?
Maybe I'm not saying it. So the policy says that someone who applies for this will get the relief for 5 years, correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
So yes, the bylaw would provide that same level of relief for approvals up to December 31st, 2025. So, yes, so any applications that planning approves between now and the end of the year would be subject and treated for the relief for the 5 years under the bylaw.
okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay. To the motion, all those in favor? Carried. You need to move it for this motion that the City of Brooks seconds the resolution moved by the Village of Dutchess reducing barriers to post-secondary education for all Alberta students to be submitted to the 2025 Fall Alberta Municipalities Conference. Mover for that motion, Councillor Idris. And interim CEO Lagore.
Yes, to you, Mr. Mayor. When the community submits a resolution to Alberta municipalities, they must have a seconder, and the Village of Dutchess is looking to the city for a seconder on this motion.
I know we had talked about this. I think I talked with Councillor Idris on it, and maybe Councillor Wardrop on that. I don't know if we can revamp this one because this goes to the provincial government, but I always kind of felt that if you lived in a rural area, we don't have any tax deductions when we send our kids off to a post-secondary school, either in Medicine Hat or Calgary or Edmonton or Guelph. It really doesn't matter. And what I would like to actually see is you can get your tuition deducted, but your cost of your housing and your shelter are not covered like that. And it's a challenge for us in rural Alberta, whereas there's an advantage if you live in Calgary and are going to SAIT or Mount Royal University or the U of C, your children can stay home and still get an education. But I don't know, where we can go on that. But I would like some sort of mention of that there too. Councillor Idris.
So since the conversation we had with your worship and Councillor Wardrobe, I had the conversation with Deborah, and she said that actually was part of the discussion. If I give just a small background, so there is a committee we are working with the University of Calgary, and this was one of the action items that came out of that, and a similar resolution went to the RMA's convention just in the spring and passed. So the idea was to have this passed by the AB and then work on them together. So in the discussion with the University of Calgary and with the team that discussed in Calgary, she said that actually that discussion came up around tax credits, and there was some concerns around two things. One, most of the kids who are going to go to university don't have income actually to have credits, and I know the idea is to have it to the parents.
Right.
So when you give it to the parents, is the government going to come back and say, are you just trying to give more tax credits to rich farmers or parents who can afford to do this and just do it? So why are we not finding ways to help people or make it based on income or things like that? So we left it this morning when I talked with Deb with the idea that if council choose to do it, maybe do it in a way where we go back and we discuss with Deb and come up with language that is agreeable. But she said the discussion did happen, and those were the two concerns that they made them not go that route.
Yeah, definitely. If the student is making money, have the deduction going that way, for them to get the tax credits. Secondly, I think it would be easy to do because you could base it on income too. Because if a parent is making $250,000 a year or $500,000 a year, whatever, you could have a threshold there on, But
and she said she's open to that.
Yeah,
so we actually can have it in our motion to say we support it with adding something like that. And then she will be able to add that language.
We don't have to change anything with our motion here, do we, or today?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think we could cover that off in our letter in response to the Village of Dutchess.
Okay, I'm fine with that, everybody, okay. Any other questions on that? Okay, to the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, need a mover for this motion that council amend the sale agreement for 1716 Second Avenue East and 1720 Second Avenue East to adjust the closing date to June 30th, 2025. Mover for that motion, Councilor Goodenough. And we have Director of Planning and Community Development, Tiffin.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the chair to council, on February 18th, 2025, council approved a sale or an offer to purchase of 2 lots at 1716 and 1720 Second Avenue East. A sale agreement was drafted and signed, but unfortunately the closing date lapsed before all of the conditions could be met and signed off. So at this time, staff is recommending that council amend the sale agreement for 1716 Second Avenue East and 1720 Second Avenue East to adjust the closing date to June 30th, 2025, so that all of the conditions can be met and the sale closed.
Okay, any questions? No questions. To the motion then. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, I don't know if there's any questions from the media there, Jordan? No questions from the media. We need a motion to move into closed session. Councillor Wardrop, that council close the meeting to the public for agenda item 9A, personnel, as per section 17 FOIP at 5:10. All those in favor?